A warning just in case, but this does cover the new boss, so if you're sensitive to spoilers, check back later. Otherwise, I'm keeping this one short. I'll go through my findings of the boss AI and how it works later, but I'm strapped for time and Deadly Assault has just reset. I have annotated the run with closed captions, so feel free to turn them on if you want a little bit of commentary. For now, if you want a rough reference on how the boss plays and are looking for some basic routing to get you started on tackling the Defiler, then hopefully this can be of help. Enough yapping, let's get to the run.